Today, we're going to talk about something that we often think of as the total opposite of work, but it might just be the secret to doing our absolute best work. We're going to look past this rigid idea of productivity and really explore the power of play. Okay, let's get into it. And wow, the psychoanalyst Carl Jung really just hits the nail on the head here, doesn't he? He's telling us that play, it isn't just for kids. It's literally the soil where every creative idea is born. It's not a distraction from the serious work. It's actually a requirement for it. So check out this real-world story. An ad agency actually sent its employees on this mandatory citywide scavenger hunt in a fleet of limos. But some people refused to go. They stayed behind, saying they had too much work. It really makes you think, right? Would you have hopped in the limo? Or would you have been that person chained to the desk? And that story right there, it gets to the heart of the problem. We often push back against play because we are trapped by this really specific and honestly kind of flawed idea of what it means to be productive. And that exact mindset, it's a straight line to burnout. I mean, we all know this script, right? Work hard, be successful. But the dark side of that, as researcher Rahaf Harfouch points out, is this little voice in our head that says, if you're not successful, you just aren't working hard enough. It makes us feel guilty for resting. It turns play into this luxury we think we can't afford, and it just traps us in the cycle of pushing and pushing, straight towards burnout. And here's the thing. This way of thinking is basically trained into us. A study of 79 university students found that our schools often teach us that soft skills, like creativity, are basically a waste of time. We learn that grinding it out is the only way to get ahead, which sets us up for a career of all-nighters and burnout before we even get our first job. So if that rigid grind is the problem, then what's the answer? Well, it's a skill. A learnable skill called flexibility. And probably the best way to start building that muscle is with something called creative play. Okay, let's be super clear about what this means. Creative play is not about making some masterpiece. Like it says here, the only goal is just to be amused, to get lost in something. Like building a sandcastle just for the fun of it, not to win some competition. It's all about the process, not the final product. It's also really important to know what creative play isn't. It's not some rare talent you're born with. It's a behavior. Anyone can learn it. And it's not just lazy leisure time. It actually needs your active focus. And it is definitely not about mastery. For example, spending hours at the driving range to win a golf tournament, that's work. Hitting golf balls into a lake just to hear the splash, now that is creative play. It's all about pure, simple exploration. Okay, so this creative play stuff is kind of the on-ramp to a deeper skill that scientists are really looking at, psychological flexibility. And all this really is the ability to be in the moment and make a conscious choice. Do I keep doing what I'm doing, or do I pivot to get closer to what really matters to me? It is the absolute core skill for getting through a complicated world. And this is not just a theory, okay? This is real. During the insane stress of the pandemic, researchers found that people who had more psychological flexibility just had better mental health. It literally acted like a shield, buffering them from the worst of the crisis. It's a real-life superpower for resilience. But here is where it gets truly wild. This skill, it scales. It doesn't just help you as one person, it actually expands outward from inside your own head to your whole team at work, and even all the way up to the level of an entire country. So it all starts right here, in your brain. Just picture a jazz musician improvising a solo. They are constantly taking in unexpected notes and finding new, creative ways to respond. That's not just music. That's a full-on workout for the brain, training it to be more agile and adaptable in literally any situation you can think of. Now let's zoom out to the workplace. Linda Hill from Harvard says that the most innovative companies are just filled with people who have this creative agility. They can handle different ideas, even conflict, because they're great at testing things, thinking about them, and then adjusting on the fly. So individual flexibility leads to collective creativity. And now for the biggest zoom out of all, an entire country. A case study on South Korea's response to the pandemic found that their success came down to something researchers called digital resilience, a national-level ability to adapt. The reason they navigated that storm so well is because their whole system was built on the exact principles of flexibility we've been talking about. Their success was no accident. It was baked into the system. As you can see, it was built on agility, being able to pivot fast, diversity,
using a ton of different solutions, and plurality, getting regular citizens, scientists, and private companies all pulling in the same direction. I mean, this is psychological flexibility just on a massive national scale.
Okay, this all sounds great, right? But how do we actually build this skill for ourselves? Well, the good news is you can start today, and it's with some pretty simple but really powerful exercises. Think of it like a workout for your creativity, designed to build that core muscle of flexibility.
All right, first up is something called the artist's date. It's so simple, you just take 1 hour, all by yourself, no phone, and you do something just for you. But the real key is step 4. Choose something weird or strange, not something productive. The goal here is to feed your soul, not check another item off your to-do list.
Next, give this 20-minute comic exercise a try. And listen, you do not have to be an artist. Seriously, stick figures are perfect. Just by following these 4 prompts, you force your brain to make new connections between senses, actions, objects, and feelings. You're training your mind to create a story and find meaning where you didn't see it before. And look, the payoff for just weaving these little moments of play into your life is huge. You build the mental muscle to come up with new solutions. You create that powerful buffer against the stress that leads to burnout. And you develop the resilience to not just get through change, but to actually thrive in it. So I'll leave you with this question. We've seen how these ideas of play and flexibility can scale up so big that they make an entire country more resilient during a global crisis. So the only real question left is, what could that same power build for you? In your life, in your work, and in your own well-being?